I hope everyone's been enjoying the Honeyglow Woods update. Unfortunately, it happened to drop right in the middle of a vacation I already had planned, so I am recording this pre-vacation, which unfortunately means I do not have access to Honeyglow Woods yet, even though those watching this have probably already been there. So what I've done is plan a build based around Winnie-the-Pooh. I originally thought that they had told us we were going to be able to place the Honeyglow portal anywhere in our valley or the DLCs. Sounds like that's not the case anymore, according to this post. So, what I've decided to do, I had two options essentially. Do it on a floating island, which I really didn't want to do because I don't love doing permanent builds on the floating islands because I usually reserve those for things like storage or dream snaps. So, the other option was doing it in my main valley, which I have decided to do. If you've seen my recent video where I did Star Wars builds based around Tatooine and Naboo, you'll know that I moved Wally and Eve into those builds, which means they are no longer in my Glade of Trust, which also means that a lot of my Glade of Trust needs to be redone. This whole biome was not very tied together to begin with. I wasn't in love with the way that it was laid out. So I've decided to redo this biome based around Christopher Robin and his real-world home, Cotchford Farm, which was in East Sussex, south of London. This area, I've kind of done some Google Map research. In this area, there is the Ashdown Forest, which is what the Hundred Acre Woods were inspired by. There is also a real-life Pooh Sticks bridge, which I did not know was an actual thing or what the reference was for that. Now I know. They based this on the real-life Pooh Sticks bridge, which apparently you can go to and pick up a stick and drop it in the river. Apparently, if you do go do this, you need to pick up a stick farther away from the bridge because there are no sticks left around the bridge because of this bridge. So there is a lot to work with in terms of what I want this build to be. I did some research on this area of the UK, and apparently the biome is very varied. It can be foresty, temperate. There are some wetlands. So I've decided that this build could work in the Glade of Trust. So that's where I've decided to put my Honeyglow portal and Christopher Robin's neighborhood. We are going to be taking some liberties. Obviously, we don't have an item that is his house in the game, so I'm going to have to be deciding what that's going to be. And then I kind of think I'm going to make this somewhat of a village of sorts with any other houses that might go with the build. Because this was a pre-existing build, I did already have the campground that you're seeing in this shot already placed and already built, and it is the only thing that I am probably going to leave in the build. Everything else I'm bulldozing and starting from scratch for this new build. I do think this campsite works with the fact that this is around a forest. I'm sure there are campsites somewhere in that forest. It's a vast area. So I like this part of the build enough to leave this in place. But without further ado, let's get into the build. So I really am starting from nothing with this build. There is the obvious elephant in the room, which is Mother Gothel's home. I think I can work with this. What I'm thinking is the willow trees are definitely going to be a big part of this build. I'm going to be kind of going that direction with the forest aspect of this, more of a wetlands, marshy forest. It might not be completely accurate to the area around Cotchford Farm, but suspension of disbelief is going to be necessary here. So as you can see, I've got the things that I don't want to remove from the biome over here. I might change the skins on these, but this is just what they were before. But obviously we have to have Goofy Stall in the well here. I'm keeping the stone here for now. I've kept all of these pillars in the biomes that they are from, and so I kind of want to continue doing that. The coffee bushes, they've been in this biome since I unlocked them, and I would like to try to keep them here. I mean, Stitch's house is right below this, and there's not really space around his house for these coffee bushes, so probably gonna keep them in the Glade of Trust, so I'm probably gonna have to figure out how to work those in. Something else I noticed about the Glade of Trust is these bridges, and they look very similar to not only the real-life Pooh Sticks bridge, but the Pooh Sticks bridge that's going to be in the game. So this kind of worked out perfectly, in my opinion, for this. I'm kind of thinking that Mother Gothel is just a quirky resident of this area. Perhaps they all just think she's a little odd, even though she's actually a witch. Maybe she built her home here because there is a portal to the Honeyglow Woods here, and she wanted to exploit that for any amount of power she could. There's flowers there. There's honey glow effects on the flowers. Very something that Mother Gothel will be interested in. So it would make sense for her to build her home near the portal. to the Honeyglow Woods, in my opinion. The other thing, as I've said, Wally and Eve used to be here, so I had got Wally's garden in this biome. I think I'm going to try to leave that here as well. I think that can be easily worked into this type of build. And then, of course, over in this corner is where the campsite is. And I will probably be leaving that here. We will see. Might end up getting rid of it if there needs to be space for something else, but as for right now, I'm happy with this and the way that it looks, so I will be leaving that there. I haven't pulled out any items for this build like I normally do because I genuinely don't know where I'm going to start. First, I have to pick Christopher Robin's house, and I have a few ideas for this. The first thing that came to my mind, which might be just me, I might be the only one who thought this a little bit, but this haunted mansion house is giving estate, which Cotchford Farm pretty much is. It doesn't look this big or this grand, but it's an option. Just to hear me out. The other buildings I was looking at were the Lilac Cottage. I think this is closer to the vibe of the actual house, and it does kind of fit with the live action movie. The house that they used for that, there was a lot of purple greenery. There was a lot of purple foliage in that movie around the house, so that could work as an option. And then this greenhouse cottage is also an option. It's just fairly small, so I don't know that that necessarily works super well, but it is an option. Originally, I had the Painted Rose Cottage and the Darkthorn Cottage in this biome because I had kind of like a I had the flower store here as well, and it was kind of like they were growing the flowers for the flower store type of situation. Didn't really love the build, and I have plans for these two houses in Storybook Vale, so I was totally fine with removing them, and I don't want to use them for this build because I have plans for them later. There is the Enchanted House, which I already have placed in my valley, but it's my main house, which is why it's letting me place another one. It is definitely an option now that I'm seeing it. I don't think I was considering it before, but like now that I'm looking at it, it's definitely an option. It's very whimsical. And I think there's the Golden Bloom Cottage as well, which I could just have this be another thing that's here. That honestly probably needs to go in my Honeyglow Woods, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I think mixing in orange with the like darker green of these moss trees would be really nice. I also wanted to kind of include the purple, so maybe I do both. There's also the flowery summer cottage that could go here. I don't want to use it though because I have plans for that as well. I mean, I can obviously use things more than once, but I have plans for that in Storybook Vale. Okay, so these are all the house options. I think while I was originally leaning toward the Haunted Mansion, believe it or not, I don't think it fits in this biome physically. Like, I think if I were to try to fit it here, the only place it could go is in this corner. And I can't even rotate it right now because it's so big. Yeah, it doesn't even fit in this corner. It's too big for this biome. Like, the only place it can go is the place I had it, which I don't want it there because that's the entrance to the biome. So this one's been removed from consideration, which means I am now leaning toward, as Christopher Robin's house, this one. What are these called again? I am now leaning toward the Enchanted Forest house and the Lilac Cottage as his home. So I think what I'm probably going to do is create a little neighborhood out of these three houses. I don't think I'm going to use this one just because it is a little too whimsical if I'm trying to have this be believably Christopher Robin's neighborhood. So I think this would work in the Honeyglow Woods, just not in this build. I think I'm going to keep this orange one in the build, but I think I'm going to put it over here-ish. And that can be the person that's tending to this farm over there. And then I'm going to have the Lilac Cottage probably back here. And then this greenhouse up here, I think. And then that begs the question of where is the Honeyglow Portal going? Do I want these to be more of a neighborhood? Maybe this one's up front. This one goes back here. And they're the ones tending this little farm. And then this orange house could be here-ish. Is that a weird place to put it? Or I could tuck it in here. This biome is just very difficultly shaped. It does not lend itself to like a proper layout, which I think is why I struggled with it so much and why it was so disjointed to begin with. Like I basically had 3 separate builds here because it's just not easy to make something cohesive with the way that this is laid out, specifically because of Mother Gothel's tree. This orange house could go, what if it was like this, right up against the water? Or I can go back here. That would put it right by the campsite though, and I don't really love that. What if it was right here? Does that block the node? Let's find out. It does not block the node, and I can go all the way around. Perfect. I think I like this. Because there's so many ponds, I like to use the ponds as like part of their yards. Like this person has a pond, this person has a pond, and this person has a pond. So then that leaves me this space for the Honeyglow portal itself, which I'm gonna kind of have a placeholder tree for, just so that I remember where I wanted it. I think I'm gonna use this tree just to like mark the spot of the Honeyglow tree. I don't know if this will be the footprint, but I mean, it's a pretty big footprint, so I think that probably will be pretty similar in size to that. For the well, I don't know that there, so back up. This is Christopher Robin's house, I've decided, the Lilac Cottage. And then the other neighbors in this little village are the Ashdown Forest house and the greenhouse. So I think either the well can go over here as part of Christopher Robin's yard and like not, I don't know, like maybe this well doesn't really match though. This one's an option. And I feel like the one I had might be the one I need to use. Like I could just put it over here because then it kind of matches this house. And this could be like a little market where they sell their vegetables. And like this is like where Christopher's family goes to get stuff. So I think now that I've got the general layout down, I'm going to pick out all of the items that I will want. So I really like this item. Kind of want to put that somewhere. Put it over there maybe. There's Tigger's nest. First I'm going to go through and see and filter by just the Winnie-the-Pooh items that we currently have. I'm actually going to go run to Scrooge's to see exactly how many there are and how many I have of each one. Also, if you couldn't tell, I'm dressed like Christopher Robin. There's not a lot currently. Which is fine, because this is not a Winnie-the-Pooh build, this is a Christopher Robin build. Also, while we're building, I can talk about my theory about potentially Christopher Robin being the Realm Weaver. Sounds crazy, I know, but if you think about it, his connection to the 100 Acre Woods is very similar to our connection to Dreamlight Valley. It's basically in his imagination, and I believe it was a bedtime story he was told based on his stuffed animals. So it's very parallel to the way that we interact with Dreamlight Valley. And now we're going to the Honeyglow Woods. Christopher Robin is not coming with this adventure pack. So is it possible that somebody else is capable of perhaps his is called like Honeyglow magic or something instead of Dreamlight magic, but someone else capable of this type of creation that we would have interacted with as kids? It would make sense. Maybe we were friends as kids because we were both in the real world, and then we had our own imaginary worlds that we went to separately. Just something to think about. It's probably not him, but I think it should be considered as an option because I could see it. The only thing I'm not quite seeing is the attitude of that we've gotten so far from the Realm Weaver is pretty obnoxious. Not obnoxious, but just not very nice necessarily. So I don't know that fits with Christopher Robin's vibe, but who knows what Christopher Robin would have been like grown up. So it's possible. Just throwing that out there. Now, why would they make this item for the Glade of Trust and not have it mold seamlessly into the ground? Like no matter what terrain it's on top of, it doesn't blend. What is this? There are so many items that will blend into the ground. Why would this not be one of them, especially when it was made for this biome? That's insane to me. I'm kind of just placing things in the areas where they'll probably go, except for this stuff. This stuff I don't know what I'm doing with. Everything else, like a lot of this stuff works with a little market, a lot of this stuff works with a little farm, a lot of this stuff works with the orange. So just kind of throwing things down so I can work with them. I like these chairs. I love this tree, but I think it's too literal. I'm kind of going for a little bit of realism. I know that's a weird thing to say in a game, but I want this to feel more like his neighborhood than like the Hundred Acre Woods. So I think this is an item potentially for the Hundred Acre Woods. We'll see. I do think this person is a beekeeper though. I'm kind of thinking where it's like this neighborhood and the people in this neighborhood kind of inspired the characters. So like the honey, like having someone in the neighborhood who makes honey may have inspired that part of it. Somebody in the neighborhood who does flowers, like a lot of this could have been inspiration that they drew. I do feel like his family were a bunch of creatives, so I'm gonna give them the painting table, crafting station. Okay, so kind of got all the items down, so now I would just need to path and arrange the things and, you know, everything else that goes into a build. All right, now that I've got everything laid out, I think we need to decide on pathing. I say laid out, but it's really just kind of quadrants of where the things are going to end up-ish. So I kind of want this to be like a little mini market area where I'll have the well. I'd like to have a crafting station and a cooking station here. I might just have the crafting station be the one over by Chris Robin's house, and then maybe I'll put a cooking station at this house. We'll see. Kind of making it to where like, why do both sides of this have to say dog pound? I wonder if I can hide that with something. Kind of have Goofy's stall on the other side of this. I haven't decided what skins the well or the stall are going to have yet. These are just kind of placeholders. This is the first build I've done on the channel in my main valley, so it's going to be slightly different in terms of it has to be very functional because the vein valley is where I do all of my star path work and I have to grind for Dreamlight a lot. So all of these biomes need to be very accessible, very functional, have everything that I need in a close proximity. I try to have in every biome the well, Goofy stall, a cooking station, and a crafting station all very close together. And then any fruit trees or bushes that are in those biomes also very close to the wells, just so that I can get to things quickly. It also means leaving the mining nodes much more accessible than I do in some of my other builds in other places. So you will be seeing some of that as I try to figure that out as far as layout goes. It's kind of like a farmer's market. I'm thinking maybe the stones in the center. And there's like flowers on either side. I could do coffee bushes like this. And the path can go around. Kind of want like a chair or something right here. I know I'm decorating before I'm doing pathing when I just said I'm doing pathing, but if you've seen any of my other builds, this is par for the course. I don't know of any chairs that would like benches that would fit in this little spot because it's only like 2. Yeah, it's pretty small. Oh, that would fit. Is it too much? I mean, honestly, why does that kind of work? I feel like it works. I don't think there's anything else that would really do that. I mean, there's the stony benches. I just use those so often. There's this stone bench as well. But I feel like the popsicle sticks kind of ties in that element of whimsy. We're going popsicle sticks in an unexpected turn of events. Just kind of like a central thing. Okay, so that's that area laid out. And then as far as the skins on these, I'm honestly thinking this is the ones I had on it originally. And they are cute. And they do kind of match everything. The other one I was thinking about is the Lady and the Tramp ones. This Edwardian one. But now that I'm looking at it, it seems a little too fancy. There's also the Pocahontas ones. And those are cute. but they don't provide as much structure, I don't feel. So I'm gonna stick with the springtime ones because the pink on these kind of ties into this house. So for this greenhouse, I don't know how big I want it to be yet. Like, do I want it to just be like one big? I do think I like it being just one, so I do want to rotate it. I don't know how modular this is going to be on an angle. Not at all. Are you kidding me right now? You're going to make a modular set, but then make it impossible for me to do it on an angle because of the way that your footprints work on angles. I think I will make this side a door as well. Maybe I'll make all three of the front ones doors, and only the back wall is solid. I'm gonna have the painter station in here. Kind of like this is like someone's workshop where they come out here and paint. Maybe I'll have like a table with flowers on it back there, so it looks like that's kind of what they paint. And maybe they have like a little patio back here where the food stuff could go. Maybe there's like a little table. We'll figure that out after. And then we've got the Honeyglow Portal. I'm almost wondering if I need to put that more central. Is that too close to the beach? No, I kind of like it. I can put stuff behind it too. And I feel like around this portal is where I would have these like barrel beds, as if like if they ever come through, they can wait for Christopher Robin at the tree. I feel like this is kind of where he hangs out when he's not in the 100 Acre Woods. So maybe he's got like his little drawing desk here. So I'm thinking like this whole part is going to be like his estate. So like I might make a wall go like here-ish. I might also line the path with the wall. I haven't decided. And then for this person, I feel like they're kind of like a beekeeper, but also I'm thinking a carrot farmer, because it would be really cute if like each of the different sections inspired one of the characters. So like Christopher Robin, this could be like the rabbit part where like the carrot farmer inspired the character of Rabbit. And then maybe this pink one is Piglet, even though Rabbit's technically a farmer, I think. But then like the beekeeper also Honey for Pooh Bear, the little campsite for mine, like the little tent for Eeyore. Orange is also Tigger. And then I have this portal here because I'm like, well, if there's a Honeyglow portal and there's this big tree, it makes sense that there'd be more portal trees in this area. I think the carrot farm would probably be over here. Maybe another one over here too, but I want to kind of leave this space fairly open just because I want to be able to easily get clay. So we'll see. One of these muddy patches, although I'm pretty sure it's not the muddy patches that give clay. I think it's literally just being close to the water is what gives clay. So I'll need to keep one of them fairly open for me to be able to dig here. This is where I get my clay from. So I think this is where he has his bees. Definitely want another one of these. Maybe he's got a little sitting spot in here for while he's tending to the bees. I wish there was a yellow version. I don't think there's really any other yellow chairs. There's also the rocking chair, but I like that orange one. I'm trying to keep this build different enough that like when I do start decorating the Honeyglow Woods, it doesn't feel too similar. All right, I think that's the basic layout done. What I'm gonna do, so there's a trick to make Wally's garden more aesthetic to what you're trying to do, which is to go through and prune out the vegetables that you don't want on display, and then eventually it will fill in with just the ones that you're wanting. So like some people have this like completely as pumpkins. I'm thinking I'm probably gonna prune out anything that's not yellow and make this like canola and corn primarily, with maybe some green in there like the spinach and stuff. Or I don't know if that's spinach, I think that's soya that looks like the leaves. Either way, and maybe cabbage as well, just to make this more one color so that it blends better with this. So I will go through and do that. That's going to be a process. It's going to take a while to get it to look how I want it to look, but I think it'll be worth it in the end, just to make this look more as part of this build rather than just somewhere I shoved Wally's farm, if that makes any sense. But that is the layout, so then I can work on pathing. Obviously the mud path is like the Glade of Trust path. That's what I've used on this end, so I could carry that through, but I haven't decided for sure. I think I am, at least to start off with. I'm gonna change this just so I can see it while I'm building it. Don't worry, I'm not keeping it as sand, I just need to be able to see while I'm pathing out. I always like to try to keep my paths 3 wide at a minimum. So Cotchford Farm does have like a swimming pool in it, but I think we're gonna say that this pond is that because we have a swimming pool item and I used it in my Mount Olympus build and it just don't feel like it would match the vibe of this build. I'm making the path thinner leading up to Mother Gothel just because I feel like I want the Pooh Sticks bridge is like kind of seems like I think it's on like a trail of sorts, so I kind of want it to feel like off the beaten path a little. I'm gonna start trying to tie these flowers into the build just because they're spawning so fast and I'd like to be able to control where they are. So for now, I'm going to put them over here by the greenhouse and we will go from there. So I'm doing something that I don't normally do, and that is thinner pathing through this section of the build. And that is mainly because I want this to feel more quaint than like I feel like thick pathing would provide me. It's also partially because this is a much smaller area to work with for pathing, so there's that element as well. Alright, so the pathing in this section is done, so I'm going to switch it over to the mud. Do I not have enough of the mud? I don't. I need 581 mud. I believe I have like 300-ish right now. I think I might have enough pixie dust to do enough cobblestones. I might regret using all my pixie dust later, but I don't care. So then if I change this to cobblestone. Ooh, yes. Okay, so that's what we're doing for this part. And then I think all the paths connecting to it are going to be the dirt road that is native to this biome. So this kind of makes it so that like their estate is more paved and then everything else is more like rural village. I'm looking for, there's like a wall kit this one. I feel like that brick tone matches really well with this house. So I'm thinking about walling this off like that. I think there's also like a gate part. What do they call it? Brick garden? Yeah, and then there's like a gate piece which I could put across this. Can I put stuff in those flower boxes? I wonder if, because typically the way that I manage resources that I don't need much of anymore is that I leave them in the biomes, but in specific locations to where they tie into the builds. But I don't know if them being on this planter will count as being in the biome so that they don't continue to produce more. So what I'm gonna do actually is move these up here and just wait and see if they start producing more, because that's good science to have. Because like literally if I put them up here now, as I'm building, they'll be spawning and we'll know if this works or not, if this counts. Science. Because if that works, I can just make this like part of the greenhouse in the planter boxes. It will be perfect. And then it could be like the Honeyglow portal is like just off their property where he goes to play outside. Because I do believe that the Cotchford Farm is gated off from the general public, but I've never been, so I could be wrong. So this is Christopher Robin's area, the little Cotchford Farm estate. I might have made it, I don't know. I don't really know what, like based on the pictures, couldn't really see much. I didn't really do a ton of research because I also didn't want it to be an exact replica. So I'm kind of like riffing. So in my version of Christopher Robin's house, this feels good to me. I might do less lanterns though. I might have gone a little overboard on the lanterns. So This node is still fairly accessible. Just hope no well, I guess I can get back here, so I guess it's fine if the resources go back there. And then this node is also still accessible. I thought I was going to use these stone walls, but I'm not sure that I am, because I don't know if they go with the vibe of any of these other farms. So we're going to leave that as is. And then I want to start building out the yard here. So I wanted to have this tree swing because I know that there is one on the property there, but it's very jungle. I mean, I guess it kind of blends a little bit with the color green we have here. Plus it'll be right next to this tree, so it's not standing out too much. I'm gonna keep it there for now. And then kind of want some foliage for their estate. I'm kind of leaning, I think, green for the trees and then purple for like the ground foliage. I like these for that touch of whimsy. This one's got like flags in it. Like Christopher Robin hung some decorations that he made. And then these. This was kind of my whole inspiration for this build, just based on that picture from the movie. They're going to be the primary thing lining this path, I think. So the rough part is going to be trying to match this cobblestone because it's a very specific color. I want to leave this pond very accessible because I do a lot of fishing in the glade, especially when it's the star path is asking for seafood. These are cute, pinwheel flowers. And then for bushes, we've got these purple ones. And I might have to use, what I probably will end up doing is using these ones. Oh, these actually work kind of well too. I know that we're getting purple bushes in Honeyglow Woods, so I may come back in and swap these out once I have access to that. Oh, that's so rude that you can't place stuff on this table, only on the counter. And then I'm honestly feeling like I don't even need to put the rocks that I normally put down to line the path because this feels good as is. And that's on growth. Like I need something in the backyard. Do we have like toys? Oh, it's a small table and then it's like one of the biggest tables in the game. Do need to make sure it doesn't block my access to the cooking station right there. Building on an angle just needs some serious TLC in this game. I don't know why, but this rosy flower bed, like, it reads to me like they were trampled. Does it not look like that? Like, it looks like somebody trampled this garden. This area might be too much of an explosion of pink. We'll refine once we get over there. I like this balloon tree, but I fear that it's a bit obnoxious when it's placed. Like, that's a lot of balloons from one tree. I'm imagining, and again, this is coming from a place of having very little knowledge of his family, but that his mother is like both an artist and a florist, and a lot of the flowers that are being sold over here are coming from her garden. Like her and whoever the lady who lives over here is are like gardening friends. I was thinking about including this stone circle somewhere in the build just because the UK and Stonehenge, but I don't know where it would even fit at this point. Like maybe right here, but like, is that too much? We'll leave it there for now and see how we feel. I'm thinking a fountain is going to go here. I don't know if that's the one it's going to be, but a fountain will probably go there. It is very strange that this is probably one of the first builds in my valley where I'm not putting any villager houses down. Like this is all premium shop houses. Other than Mother Gothel, she's the only one that lives here, but that's because she has to. I am going to take a look just to cover my bases to make sure there aren't any villagers that could fit in this build. Casita's too big. Daisy currently lives on my beach, and I think I'm going to leave her there because I don't think she would fit in this build. I'm happy with this build, so I just don't think I'm going to add anyone to it. Most of my villagers live in the Peaceful Meadow and the Forest of Valor, actually, and the beach. Those three are kind of like where everyone's kind of concentrated. And then, you know, you've got the obvious people in the biomes they should be in, like Lion King in the Sunlit Plateau and Jack Skellington in the Forgotten Lands, the things that make sense. I love how I was looking at villager houses and now I'm still scrolling through premium shop. Okay, so I think we're good. I don't want to put Tigger's house here because that's gonna go in Honeyglow Woods. Aurora's cottage, if I didn't already have plans for it in the storybook. I do like to try to keep the people who, and I say this, but I didn't do this on Eternity Isle, but I'm trying to keep the people from Storybook Vale in Storybook Vale as far as where their houses are located, because a lot of Storybook Vale was built around them, unlike the Eternity Isle. Like Eternity Isle was not themed around Rapunzel and Gaston, so like I didn't keep them there. I did keep Aladdin and Jafar, and obviously Jafar because he lives there, but I kept Aladdin and Jasmine there. And they're really the only ones that like aesthetically glow. But I do have Mulan, Pocahontas, Mushu. Now, thanks to my Star Wars build, I have Wally and Eve over there as well. God, I like this. Wow. Okay. I need something to go right here. That's what I was scrolling for. Like something needs to go there. I'm gonna put like a bunch of stuffed animals back there. Like this is Christopher Robin's play area. Maybe put like a stool back there for him. I'm gonna put books here, and I'm also gonna put books over here. Like he's got two places he plays, either in the backyard or by the Honeyglow portal. I imagine the portal's gonna be a lot bigger than this. I'm probably gonna have to redo this once the portal's like here. I'm also gonna recenter this a little bit because it's a little too close to the wall. I made their yard quite large. I'm gonna put a bunch of books back here. Probably gets yelled at all the time for leaving them outside. We all know this is the British countryside. It's definitely raining all the time. Christopher Robin would definitely have a bike, especially one with flowers on it. I'm gonna put that over here. Like he uses the bike to get there, even though it's like right outside. It's a big property. This is just a truncated version. Uh-oh. There's flowers spawning. How many spawned? I'm gonna vacuum all these up. I'm gonna see if the ones that are on the tabletops count. I don't think they will, but this is how this experiment is gonna work. It didn't vacuum these, so science experiment complete. If the flowers are on these, they do not count as being in the biomes, so they will still spawn. Good to know. So I'm gonna pick these up, and then as they start spawning again, I'm gonna start dispersing them into the spots I want them in. I will probably keep the purple ones in this yard, and so on and so forth. You get what I'm doing. All right, I don't want this. I feel like what's more British than tea and biscuits? And it helps if the tea and the biscuits match the scenery. I mean, that looks pretty good. Can I fit 3 of these in here? No way. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Let's just see what the others look like. Okay, that's pretty as well. I feel like there's no wrong decision here. You can pull flowers from your storage? Game changer, dude. I can line the whole front of this thing. Is it too much? Probably. Do I care? No. This is probably going to make fishing a little difficult, but I'll live. I love how the new flowers can go on pathing, but the old ones can't. Really, we're going to update these, but not all of them. I hope I don't need these purple ones for anything. Clip this for when I realized in a later build that I do need those. How to make a wall seem more natural. Put planters all the way down it, obviously. Don't worry, I have a plan for all these sticks that are spawning. It's called poo sticks. Have you heard of it? It's all the rage. It's the best thing since horse betting. Just never come through here with flower companions because they will ruin everything and pick up all your flowers. Should I have put pops of yellow in here? I mean, there's yellow here. I really want the purple to stand out though. I don't want the yellow to distract. Imagine he like built these for like his stuffed animals to sleep while he's like working. Air quotes working. So then this section of the build, since it's by the Honeyglow portal, I'm gonna focus yellow, which will then blend into orange, which we then have green, moving into pink, and then more into like pastels, mixing in the blues and the greens and the yellows, moving into purple. Don't know what else to put in this yellow section though. I don't want to put the like honey or like the beehive house. Oh my goodness. As soon as I dug these holes, Tigger came to get his head stuck in them. It's like they summoned him. I need to go get some carrot seeds to fill that with. Should have some over in the Forest of Valor. I do. I have these for that little plot right there, which is always where I come for Star Path. Whenever it's like harvest 5 vegetables, plant 5 vegetables. I usually do carrots because they're very quick to come back. And so I have them right here next to all this other farm stuff. I might honestly just start using the new build for the carrots since it's more tied in, but we shall see. This isn't the most ideal shape for a garden, but it is aesthetic. And this is here for aesthetic purposes. Here is one carrot patch, and then I'm thinking the second one is going to be back here. Probably should have put the fences up before I did this, but why can't I put a hole here? That was weird. I'm shocked to let me put a fence there. Stick one of these back there. This tree is such a view hazard for building in this biome. Good lord. Put him here, and then have the fence come up to him. I wish he could get closer. Hopefully by the end of the build, they will be fully grown. Ooh, I can make the honey carrot meal and put it on this table. I might need to put a cooking station in this part, over in that part too, because this was a long way to go to cook. If I give this person a bigger table, I can put tea on it too. Tea everywhere. This one's okay. I'm gonna do it even though it's pink. It still goes with this build. And then carrots, this table. I imagine like one of his parents will come out and sit here while he's playing by the tree just to keep an eye on him. Or grandma when she comes to visit. Oh, these carrots are already done. Where are those mossy walls? Maybe I will use them somewhat right here. Just like around this little bend. Not a whole thing of them, but just enough to give you the idea. This like doesn't even feel like the Glade anymore. Which I don't mind. I wonder if like the lore is Mother Gothel is like this woman's sister. That's why they both love flowers and the color purple. That's what we're going with. I could be doing too much again, but I'm in my maximalist era. I feel like because it's the area right around the Honeyglow tree, it needs to be the most Winnie-the-Pooh part of the build. That's the justification I'm allowing myself. This part of the path is going to get lined with sticks because of the Pooh Sticks bridge. You can pick up your sticks on your way, and I need to fit a crafting table in here somewhere. I just don't know if there is one that goes with this. So I added another farm. I did the yellow squash because I feel like it ties the yellow into the orange. I also got rid of this section of the wall because while I like the whimsy of the honey pots, I feel like they were intruding too much on the Christopher Robin estate. So I've kind of backed them off a little bit. I'm still keeping them, but they're not as close to the estate anymore. I wish that they had like the leaf pieces, like the petals that they have that can go on paths. I wish they had orange leaves that would do the same thing. That would be nice. But now that I'm done with this area, I need to space out the butterflies a bit. Thinking like right here. There's a patch of them over here. I think this might actually be 2 patches of them. Is it? Or are they just remnants? Nope, they're just remnants. The problem with these butterflies is they're so hard to pick up. Okay, so that's one of them. Is this just one over here? I thought I bought more than that. I did. Here's the third one. So it's nice and orange over here. And my squash are done. I think these work well. I might start making it my mission to like work crops into builds so that I just have little places like this. And then I can start dismantling my giant farm in the plains. I think I have ultimately decided that I whimsied too close to the sun with these honey pots. I think if this was the Honeyglow Woods, it would make sense to have this many, but this isn't the Honeyglow Woods, so I don't think I'm gonna have these at the ends of each wall. They don't like match the color of the wall, so then it makes the walls feel out of place. I think we're gonna now work the other direction and start working on the marketplace area. I'm thinking I found the Hops family farm stand. I've used this already on Eternity Isle, but I feel like it works really well for this build because, for one, carrots, 2, rabbit, 3, rabbit from Winnie-the-Pooh. That's kind of it. So I think it works really well with this little section. So I am going to use it. Should probably do pathing. I think for this part, I don't want to carry through the cobblestone, mainly because I don't want to use all my cobblestone, but let's see what else we got. We're going to path it out with sand just so I can see what I'm doing, and then we'll go from there.
2 hours later.
So in an absolutely devastating turn of events, my computer crashed. Somehow I butterfingered deleting the entire path, the area that I was working on, and tried to undo, but instead of undoing, I exited furniture mode, which then saved the deleted path. So then I tried to exit the game, hoping that I could get out of the game before it would save the path being deleted. But in the process of doing that, my computer froze because I exited the game while I was recording, which was a bit too much for old girl to handle, even though she's brand new. So I lost all of the video recording of a large portion of this build. I have all the audio, don't really know what I can do with that since I don't have the video to go along with it. So there is going to be a pretty big skip in terms of my progress on this build, and I do apologize for that. There's really nothing I can do. I'm going to give you a pretty thorough walkthrough right now of what I did in the interim of of you not seeing what I've done. So we cut off, I was working on the marketplace. I am done with the marketplace. I had moved on to the next section of the build. So I'll walk you through the marketplace first. For the marketplace, I ended up going with this brick pathing. I kept the basic layout that you had already started to see. I have the cash register up on this counter here. I have this vegetable stall here. I decided to put honey pots next to it since this is kind of supposed to be the stall of the orange section of the build. And then I've got some fruits over here. I have Goofy's stall, some vegetables, and then I kind of have these flower beds embedded into the ground. I am glad I can walk on top of these. That was going to be not great if I couldn't. So here is all this. This is really all I've done in this section. I put the pennants up. So this is the market area. And then as we moved into this area, this is kind of the layout. Ignore some of the furniture that's randomly in there. So all of this here, I had pathing all the way down, and I accidentally deleted all of that pathing. So that's what we're going to start with in terms of rebuilding, but I will walk you through kind of what I've done here. So these are chia seeds. They are like the only pink crop that I know of other than fairy rye, and I feel like these are more bush-like. So I have kept those. I might put fairy rye somewhere else in this build if I can find space for it, but I don't think I will be able to. The plan for Wally's garden is to prune anything that isn't canola and hopefully end up with an entire garden of just canola, and then leave it that way and have it just be purely decoration. I felt like canola would match the vibe of this area the best in terms of it being like a pastel yellow color, kind of contrasting with the like pink that's going on here. So what I was going to be doing when this whole process of crashing began, I had discovered that these flowers fit very nicely into the grooves of these wooden fences, so I do plan on lining the entire fence with these flowers. But first I need to put the pathing back down, so I will move this stuff out of the path area. Also, this isn't exactly how the fence is going to end up. I wasn't done with the fence. That's what I was working on the fence actively when everything went to crap. So this isn't what it's going to end up like. I'm just kind of in the process of kind of rebuilding lost progress. So we're going to do this with the sand pathing. It's the easiest to see when I'm going through. And I'm going to kind of use the fence as a guide for where the path was. Also, in case you were worried about this ever happening again, which I am. I used to record with just the NVIDIA overlay because I'm a basic bitch and don't know like a lot about this whole recording stuff. I've always used it because it's the built-in system. I have learned my lesson. The audio recording software that I use, which came with this microphone that I use, did recover all the audio after the crash, but NVIDIA did not recover the video. It was just a corrupted file. So I am now recording using OBS. It saves in like an NKV save format, which is like crash proof supposedly. We will see about that, but I am trusting that more than I trust NVIDIA. I'm also wondering if it was NVIDIA that was causing the game to just like the whole computer to freeze when I exit the game while recording. Obviously, I shouldn't exit the game while recording, but you know, I forgot and I was freaking out because I deleted my path. This is why when I said streaming, I said eventually, because your boy does not know how to get all that set up. This is more or less what the path looked like. Pathing is done, but I need to turn it into mud. It just never gets old that every time I do that, it just looks like I've done nothing. And then I just got rid of the path because it blends so seamlessly. So this is what I was doing. I'm gonna get out of furniture mode so this will save. Oh, okay. Okay. We're not gonna cry. We are not gonna cry. We are going to persevere. Big girls don't cry. I'm coping. Okay. Now I will change the path. Then I'm going to back out of furniture mode. Okay, now it's saved. All right, so for this fencing, I'm gonna have lots of breaks in the fence, obviously, so you can like get in there. I think for this break, it'll be like on the corner. I think we need another small break right there for the geese to get out. I do want a table somewhere. Maybe I could do that back here. Oh, the other thing I forgot to show you. This companion house has the pink bee, the lovebird, and the pink alligator. This house has all three of the spring rabbits. And this one is obviously Abigail and Amelia, but I'm only using the pink one because it goes with this build. Maybe I should do both, actually. Should I do both? I feel like I might need to do both. I'm doing both. And they have a little yard with flowers. Maybe I'll do multiple geese. Like for this one, I want there to just be a lot of animals in this part of the build. So for this one, Abigail / Amelia, whichever one they are, and then the blue goose in the blue house. And then for the pink house, we do Abigail / Amelia, whichever one it is, and the white goose. And then when I get the golden goose, I can put them in here too. Oh no, the white goose is stuck. I will help you, or try to. Why did they spawn on that side? Fine, I'll move this flower so they can still get out. I think I'm just gonna make the field oddly shaped to conform to this fenced area. And then I'll have another break in the fence back here, just so I can get out. Why can't I place anything? Oh, the path. Duh, frick. These are flowers that can't be placed on a path. I forgot. So I think this is the direction I'm heading with the flowers. Just kind of having them be behind the fence since they can't go on the path. I'm starting to wonder if like I had too much of that fencing. It was causing it was making it hard to like focus on the build, like focus on like anything specific. So I have pruned a lot of it. I'm gonna probably take a lot of these flowers out as well. I'm also like seeing if I like the leaf strewn path. I think I like it, but I just don't like how it looks next to this. So I'm gonna look at the bordered one because I feel like this could give it like that garden vibe. I do like this. Do need to make this symmetrical now though. So I do fear that after all this work, I am going to be getting rid of these fences. It was nice having you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming. But it is time for you to go. You have not been selected. I'm wondering if I can find a fence that matches the wood on the border of this path. So this kind of matches, but I think it's gonna have to go in front of the path. So I don't hate it, but it is not matching the color. So what about these? Obviously don't match the color, but are they matching the vibe? That's the question. And I feel like they are, to a degree. Unfortunately, I think the white picket fence has made its return. I like this, actually. Oh, hello. And we have a winner. I mean, come on. Just gonna check the Sunlit Plateau one. Why do I not have enough? I need to see what the Sunlit Plateau one looks like, but I'm pretty sold. See what the Sunlit Plateau one. Oh. Oh dear. That's the one. Glad we've made that decision. I'm purposely leaving this area kind of wild because this probably will be where I end up digging for clay. I need to leave some open space for that. So that just leaves Mother Gothel's area. So I definitely want another one of these signs. So I'm gonna have to duplicate that. I want like a couple of them to kind of like point towards the Pooh Stick Bridge. They only have the left arrow. I don't know if there's a right arrow. And then for the pathing through here, I'm gonna probably stick to the mud path just because it's supposed to be like off the beaten trail. My plan is to line this path with sticks because you have to find your sticks along the path. But then Mother Gothel is gonna have a little booth where she's selling what she says is the best wood for Pooh sticks, which is gonna be dark wood. I just need to find a table big enough to put dark wood on. I also like to think that the lady who lives here is like the rival of Mother Gothel, and she wants people to not get the dark wood sticks, so she'll leave like a couple of dry wood over here. Just like, oops, left my wood here. Would be a shame if someone used it for Pooh sticks. And because it's on her side of the bridge, Mother Gothel can't do anything about it. Her Pooh sticks pyramid scheme is being foiled. In case anyone's confused about why I'm doing a Pooh sticks area, the Pooh sticks bridge is real. It's a thing in real life near Cotchford Farm in I think it's the Ashdown Forest. So this is the Ashdown Forest trail, and she is trying to sell you dark wood, but don't fall for her schemes. It's not actually better. It's weighted and you'll lose, and she'll win all the money on the bet that you made on Pooh sticks. She's like, come get your Pooh sticks. Nothing nefarious happening over here. She just sits here all day and waits for dumb tourists to buy her weighted Pooh sticks. Come get your Pooh sticks. They're definitely not cursed. This is the part of the build where the delirium sets in. I've been doing this for too long. This is definitely the longest it's taken me for a build so far. I just wanted to do it justice, and it was such a specific vision. I did it to myself. No one to blame but myself. This lady just sits in this chair and watches people all day with those Pooh sticks. Tells them where to find the good ones. I feel like I need some trees. This is supposed to be the forest. That looks sufficiently forested, I think. Jeez, this is like so many items. But I think we may have finally reached our conclusion. So for this build, I'm going to do a full walkthrough, a narrated walkthrough, just because there was so much of the build that got missed during the unfortunate gap. Obviously, a lot of things got changed anyway, so it didn't really... We'll see in the edit how it shakes out, but I do think I'm going to call it here and give you a little tour. So this is the entrance from both the Peaceful Meadow and Dazzle Beach. As you come around this way, on your left, you will see where the Honeyglow Portal is going to go once they have it. That is a placeholder. As we walk around this way, we've got our little squash farm. So this area is kind of inspired by Rabbit. There's some yellows in here because of that. Also the carrots. But I mainly built it around that house. So it's just drawing inspiration from a lot of things, and it's also where I put all the bee stuff. So this is also where the honey is coming from in this neighborhood. But it's very autumnal, very orange. My favorite color. Might make this my actual house in the valley. We shall see. But as you come this way, you've got a crafting station. This biome is very functional. There's multiple crafting stations and multiple cooking stations. There's actually 3 crafting stations, if I'm counting correctly. And I believe there's 1, 2, 3, 3 of each. There's 3 crafting stations and 3 cooking stations. This is very functional and very good for star paths. We've got our table here with some honeyed tea and honeyed carrots, and I believe that is chrysanthemum tea. We've got our little beekeeping area where our beekeeper can sit and wait for the bees to make honey. I believe I can turn these on and we will have some bees flying around. Yep, there's the little bees. Cute. And then as we come out of the farm, we cross the bridge into the campsite. This is a camp just outside the Ashdown Forest. And you've got some popsicles, some s'mores being made. Very, not sure what season it is because you're doing s'mores and popsicles together, but it's fine. We've got our bonfire with some chairs and popcorn and hot cocoa. Again, not sure what season it is here. We've got our rock that they, instead of demolishing, built a path around. And then our little house and a crafting station and cooking station in this part of the build. And a little tent. This build was already built before I did this, full transparency, but it is kind of giving me Eeyore a little bit. I know he's blue, but like it's got his little tent over there. That could give Eeyore. There is a blue tent, but green matches this build better. And then as we come out here, we pass the outhouse and cross into the land between the campsite and the animal husbandry area. Essentially, there's so many animals here. So we come through here. We've got our central pond. On this side, we've got all of our goose. All the geese are in these 2 houses here. They're free range. And then we've got this is Wally's farm that I've kind of built into this build. My plan is to let only canola grow here. So I will prune everything else. And so eventually it'll just be a plot of canola and it will match the color scheme of this area better. If we go out back here, we've got our little table with some tea and nectar. And then the mining node is still accessible back here. I added the Valentine petals to this whole area, so there's lots of petals falling everywhere. There are actually a total of 4 critter homes in this part of the build, because this is one right here. In this one, I have the pink alligator, the lovebird, and the pink bee. You can kind of see them all. The pink alligator's hiding back there. I think he might be stuck, but... And then you've got the house itself. This is one of my favorite premium shop houses. It's just so pretty. I love the colors. And then in this little critter home, we've got all 3 of our springtime bunnies. And then we've got our chia seed farm. I put chia seeds in because they are pinkish purple, so they went with the color scheme here. Why are all the geese standing still? That's odd. They're usually walking around. If I like walk up to them, will they walk around? Interesting. Anyway, there is a cooking station here. The egg one. This is kind of like a springtime build. It's also pink because piglet. But I got our cooking station here. And then as we walk out of the pink farm, we enter the town, the village square. We've got our goofy stall. Of course, it starts raining right now. We've got our goofy stall and some vegetables and some benches in front of the stone. I always try to leave these in the biomes that they came from. Just, I don't know, feels like a nice touch. And then we've got our Hops family farm. Uh, Canonically, in this biome, this is the person who lives in the orange house, and this is their vegetables that they're selling, which is why there's honey here as well. I also left the coffee beans here. I don't have room for them by Stitch's house, so they are in this biome. And then we've also got a little florist shop by the cash register. And then this flower is here simply to torment Mother Gothel because she lives so close but cannot get her hands on it. Oh, another thing I might have done off without recording is that the flower posts on this side are purple and the flower posts on this side are pink, because this is the pink side and this that we're about to go see is the purple side. So this part of the build is what I imagine to be Christopher Robin's house, Cotchford Farm. The reason purple is the direction I went is simply because of this shot of the house that they used to film the live action movie has these purple flowers in the backyard, and it kind of inspired this whole build for me because I thought of this house immediately. And then in here, I kind of imagined that Christopher Robin's mother is both a florist by trade. I believe that's her stall, or she works closely with whoever owns that stall. But she's also an artist. So I gave her a little artist station and painting station as she's painting this honey pot. Is her next project she'll be working on. And then she's got some books and things in here, also accessible to the mining node. And then, so we've got all of her little flower arrangement stuff going on here. As you can see, she's got a lot of flowers. The whole yard is full, plus the walls. But as you come around this way, this is their little back patio where we've got some tea and crackers set up. There's also a cooking station back here. And then this is the front yard. So they've got their own little pond with a well over there. They've got some benches to overlook the pond. There is a swinging tree. There's a tree swing on the property of Cotchford Farm, which is why I added this in here. We don't have like that specific kind of wooden plank swing that can go outside. We do have that item for indoors, but not outdoors. So I added this one in here, just kind of be a nod to that. And then as you come around back, there is a backyard, and I have like a little area set up for Christopher Robin to read to his stuffed animals. After all, Winnie-the-Pooh was inspired by Christopher Robin's stuffed animals, so I have put a nod to that in here. Obviously, we don't have the Winnie-the-Pooh characters as stuffed animals, but I put the ones that we have. And yes, I used the Thumper topiary. It looks like a stuffed animal. And then as we come out the front of Cotchford Farm, we will head through this area, which is where I imagine Christopher Robin comes out to play when he leaves the property, which is where the Honeyglow Portal will be. So this is kind of where he goes to get to the 100 Acre Woods. And there's little beds here. I imagine he lets his stuffed animals sleep in those, or if his friends are waiting for him to come to the 100 Acre Woods, they can wait here in these beds. That's his bike that he rides out here, a little table that he uses when he's doodling and things like that. And then we come around this way and we enter the Ashdown Forest. This forest is a place around Cotchford Farm where there's little, like, if in real life, if you go there, there's little like Winnie-the-Pooh sightseeing things you can see along the trail. And there's actually a real life Pooh Sticks bridge that I've seen pictures of. So I am imagining that these two bridges in this biome are the Pooh Sticks bridges. As you come into this one, this is Mother Gothel's pyramid scheme stick selling business, where she tries to sell you dark wood because she claims that it's better than the other woods, but it's, in my mind, just normal wood that she painted black. And then in the real life Ashdown Forest, you'll want to pick up your twigs along the trail. Apparently near the bridge there are none, because everyone's doing it. And then you would bring them to the bridge and float them. So you pick them up along the trail. There's plenty to choose from. And then that brings you back out to this side where I've also placed some drywood because I imagine that this kind lady knows that drywood floats much better. So she leaves some here for tourists. And that completes the walking tour. I can't decide what my favorite part of this build is. I really love this pink area. It went through many iterations. I don't know why I struggled with this area so much, but I really love this area. I love the market. I think Christopher Robin's house might be my favorite, or the orange area. It's really just, I love this whole build. It might be a bit of a explosion of maximalism, but I think it is organized chaos, which I think describes Winnie-the-Pooh and the Hundred Acre Woods pretty well. Organized chaos. So I think I hit the vibe of that I was trying to go for, kind of this dichotomy between the real life Christopher Robin's house and the Hundred Acre Woods, which is kind of what the neighborhood drew inspiration from. But I hope by the time you're watching this video, you are well on your way to enjoying the Honeyglow Woods update and the 3 new villagers, Winnie-the-Pooh, Piglet, and Eeyore. I am unfortunately still out of the country as this is being posted, but as soon as I get back, I will be diving into that content, and you can expect the next couple videos of mine to be about Honeyglow Woods. I will probably do a guide walkthrough of the story, and then obviously some builds. We don't have a huge window before the Wreck-It Ralph update, like 2 weeks, at least for me, because I'm not getting to play this the first week it's out. So there'll probably be like 2 or 3 videos about Honeyglow Woods and then right into Wreck-It Ralph. But if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more content like this, I do also do guide videos and things like that, not just builds, but I kind of try to alternate between the two. But if you like that kind of thing, please give a like and subscribe to the channel. I am a very small creator just trying to grow in this massive space. So any engagement helps. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.